Come on. Yes, I got it.
Sue's on Zoom with us tonight.
No picture.
Good evening.
Oh.
Welcome from my conference hotel room,
Where are you?
Booth Bay. We have a two-day conference up here.
Rough life. Or maybe we can make it. Yeah. Just be careful not to let any of this stuff slide into it.
That's the one from last week, but someone didn't sign it.
Oh. How was that, gymnasts?
Last meeting.
Backdated? I'm just wondering whether I should backdate and be like,
That's fine.
Can you tell what this says? Jacking. It's jacking and. And. Jacking and with the person. Okay. On the boardwalk. I don't know if there's anything we can do to give him a form he can fill out rather than just,
Well, I could put out for him after the fact. He just had left that in the box. Monday.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. In that warrant, you're gonna see a history book. And an invoice. If you don't want to buy it, you just make note of that.
What's this one? And this one's books?
Just got it in today, so I have it in.
Oh, this right here. Is it something we ordered? I don't remember.
No. The lumber is a invoice for lumber and nails. I took that out of Harper, the beach Harper money. Is that okay?
I would imagine so. I mean, that what we intended it for. Yeah. Sounds right to me. This goes with his other thing he just made out.
That's my.
No.
Yeah.
Said people was asking about a porta potty up there.
Yeah, well, you know, that is supposed to happen, right? I mean, there's somebody brings it up right here, so. And I guess we owned it, so do we have to like buy a new one, or should we be? You know, include on salaries?
Yeah, we was leasing it, I think.
Okay,
Rent,
no, the one we owned was up at the only one that was at the transfer station. Ages ago. Anybody remembers that for that?
I'll call on Nick Sims, Elizabeth, I'll check when we do.
Mhm. Well, we didn't remind us, you know. But there are printers, eh?
Mileage. There's only so much room.
I was gonna say. Who did you have do the reports? They looked like.
Grassroots.
Grassroots. Looks good to me. I didn't actually know that was gonna end up being in color, but it came out nicely.
We did last year, because it was.
Not more, it's really more
Not
expensive,
really.
not have to mount anything. Right. Those junkyard letters are significantly expensive, aren't they?
We'll put that, his deadline was June 11th, so we'll put that on the next agenda. Someone's gonna have to inspect the two.
Yeah. Is there on June 11?
That was the deadline.
We're going to answer the letters.
Clean.
Hmm?
Clean.
Swan Pond Road, $1,200 worth of gravel. After that washout, that's a lot.
Don't approve that, it's voided.
Oh, is it?
Is that the one that says void? In the front? No?
Sure. Let's see. if we
No,
see-
no, that's not the one. Okay. Sorry.
Right.
No, that's here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Pardon me?
talking me,
Yeah, she's got half of it and you.
no, I'm gonna try to.
I thought I looked up the whole thing, but I just maybe. Hands over the.
Damn you guys.
That's upsetting to something that was right on there. She should be fine. So, just fine.
Hmm.
She's so there watching a disaster.
I've lost things many times.
Oh,
This thing.
I get it. That's something that needs to be good. That's all with that. None of your stuff is over here, so all of it.
Right,
Yes. All of it.
there's the book. Look at that.
Adeline Sparrow Point. 539.
Are there many new things to review versus what I looked at on earlier this week?
Who's that?
Let's see.
Oh, I don't know, so.
How do I know what you looked at earlier in the week?
I was at the town office the same time you were, Kathy.
I don't think though, is there? I don't think so. Don't think so.
Great.
Let's go to BIM. Okay, I guess we're all set. About time, isn't it?
You know, some.
Huh?
Most of us are retired.
Okay, call the meeting to order at 7:13. Public meeting participation policy.
Well, having reviewed this public meeting participation policy. I'm going to, move that we accept this. Has Susan had a chance to read the public participation policy?
I did.
Okay, well, I move that we accept this.
Me too.
Gotta second it. All in favor?
All in favor?
This policy here we got up is just to keep everything like under control, like when we have bad discussions on stuff.
No, any discussion.
But people like to say 3-minute minimum of speaking. And not more than one person speaking at a time.
And to address the chair.
Yeah.
If you want to.
That sort of stuff.
Yeah, there's a few things in here, just like any
Yeah.
person wishing to address the board shall so signify by raising their hand after being recognized by the chair and identifying themselves, stating that by name he or she may share their comments. When in the opinion of the chair,
Sign it anywhere.
who has not been adequately stated for
Huh?
the assembly, the chair may request further information before permitting the person to speak. Well, I reviewed this and it seems like it makes pretty good sense to me. All comments should be directed to the chair. All comments shall be made in a civil and respectful manner. No public comment will be allowed which has the effect of embarrassing or attacking the character of an individual or board member. Anyway, and if anybody would like to have a chance to look at it, then more than welcome. Copy right there.
Is there another copy too?
Kathy's got a copy.
Then you get mine, you wanna? Approve the minutes, May 18, 2023, Selectmen's Meetings.
Man.
I looked at them earlier.
I just got approved a minute ago. It will be.
I'll probably have it at each meeting, so everybody.
You know, it's probably not a bad idea. So.
I
anybody-
vote to approve the minutes.
Okay. We're going over, I'm looking.
Did she just,
I make a motion that we approve
Okay.
May 18,
Second that,
all in favor?
No.
And approve warrant 23 and payroll warrants for May 24th, 2023 and May 31st, 2023.
I move we accept them as reviewed.
I second that.
All in favor? Good.
Moving right along.
RSU 10 report.
I attended the budget meeting at Buckford High School
Great.
and went through the whole budget appropriations process. We had a few questions going through, but basically it went without any major issues, and which led to last night's meeting on the 31st, which everything was continued to be approved, and hearings went relatively seamless.
Good. Leanne.
Richard, do you have anything to add?
No, I didn't watch it. I don't know if it was on Zoom or not, but I didn't watch it. But I would imagine that the school budget passed at that meeting last night.
We'll call
Man.
it.
I just want to say that I was there checking in voters last night at the Mountain Valley High School. I didn't see one Hartford person again.
You didn't
But I did
ask, but
stay for the vote.
I was otherwise occupied last night
Me too, Rosie Rumford. I was in Rumford, but not there.
with your mother
Yeah.
in the hospital.
There's a few people at the Buckford
Thank you, Kim.
Buckfield hearing, and I asked 3 out of the 4 questions during the hearing and got complete answers regarding food service and some other things that were talked about, and as well as educational stuff, and regarding our side of the hearing, it went very well.
Good.
Thank
I
you.
have a question.
Go ahead.
Leanne probably knows, how many people from Hartford were at last night's meeting, if any?
0.
0.
Yeah, that's exactly what I expected. Thank you.
But there were Hartford people at the Buckfield,
Really?
there were Hartford people at the Buckfield hearing, which is, our portion of the school budget, so there was like 13 people there.
I usually don't miss those, but that was when we have an appointment.
You should have school board. That don't want there.
And Zoom.
While I was on the school board, I got to know Jerry Wiley a little bit, not intimately, but a little bit. And he deserves the thing that we're talking about. And he's been a very excellent leader of the school board for many, many, many years.
There's upcoming event, right? What's that?
You see it on Facebook, right,
I
Ken?
have that on the events, but
Road report. Sampson Road complaint. I think we're gonna table this one.
well, this has been, we did have an actual road report too. Yeah, this Sampson case, I mean, this is, many, many, many pages with lots and lots of photos. I haven't had a chance to.
Me neither.
Sort this, so I think tabling is probably a good idea, which doesn't mean that we're not gonna take it up. It just means taking it when we've had a chance to. Thank you for that.
We're gonna table Julie's thing till next.
Okay.
Yeah, we met with FEMA the other day.
Did you meet two or you just?
Yeah, I went with them the second time around. First time around, I didn't. I went around, but. Yeah. Let's see, he met with Jeff Stearns. I didn't do
Okay,
that
so
one.
he met with FEMA about the December 23rd.
Yep.
Storm on Friday and May 26th. Storm on Tuesday.
May 1st. Have the wrong date on it. It was a May 1st.
Oh, okay, yeah, May 26th.
That's the one I went with him with.
Oh, Friday, May 26th, and then met on Tuesday, May 30th. To discuss the May 1st storm.
And we met with Jeff Stearns today. We got the hazard mitigation plan updated and back to Paris emergency management.
Good. Plans to begin brush removal at the beach parking area within the next couple of weeks.
Okay, so I have a question about that.
So,
I understood that the plan was to take an excavator and just pull the trees up, roots and all, but it's also been recommended that we don't. That we leave the stumps in place. And fill over that. Because of. It being that close to the lake. That's muddy close to the lake to be yanking up trees by the roots. And I wonder if anybody has discussed this with them.
wasn't he at one of the meetings when we was discussing that?
He was at the meeting one time and he said, well, I plan to just knock the whole trees out, pull the whole trees out. So I gotta say, I remain concerned for the health of the lake.
Just cut them and bury them. The stumps.
While it's true that if you did that and paved over it, eventually the stumps would rot away, kind of like a sunken grave. And if it was paved, you'd end up with a divot, but we're not talking about pavement,
No.
we're talking about gravel.
Now I'll mention it to him.
I think it's pretty critical.
I know he's gonna meet with Dave, to try to see where the boundary lines are.
Did we ever agree to pave that parking lot or just?
No,
Oh,
no,
heavens, no.
Because on our agreement with Pine Shores is to create a parking lot. I don't
Right.
believe it mentioned that we had to pay.
No, there's no plan to pave that anytime in the foreseeable future,
Okay,
if ever.
Two salt bids were received, and I recommend choosing Avcog bid with Eastern Salt.
Well, I can go along with that, but I'd like to make sure that it was only a few meetings ago that we discussed the state bid, and the
They
state
should
bid,
both be in your packet, aren't they?
well, I'm just remembering that
Attached
yeah,
results.
no, I think this one. About it. The local road center. So what I'm remembering is that the state did had some rules around it. The county or municipality will have 2 weeks to accept or reject the low bid if you choose to accept the low bid, et cetera, 2 weeks from no later than 6/8. Okay.
I noticed that many of the groups that they've asked for bid before did not include a bid. I just want to note that in the minutes that quite a few of the companies that have provided bids in the past are not even attempting to bid in the statewide salt statewide salt bid process.
And
I just think it's pretty volatile, the pricing, and the bigger groups are the ones bidding and the smaller groups are a little nervous. The price jumped so badly last year.
yeah. I'm seeing 83.90 from the AdCom bid. And it says here, Hartford 79.60. The presumed tonnage of 850. So we would be, of course, it doesn't make a difference whether you are,
I think Morton was chosen last year, wasn't it?
that's my understanding, and I guess
I
there,
think you're right, Lee. Yeah,
I guess there were some issues, which is why BIM suggests going with the AvCog Eastern Salt Company.
yeah.
I mean, there's definitely a price difference. It's not, it's not
That much.
huge,
No,
but we all know that being a price shopper can sometimes end up with you not as happy with the product. So. And he's the one who has to deal with the salt and
Mhm.
make it all happen, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to know what some of the issues were. I'm sure we heard about it a little bit.
There was a wait time between ordering and receiving. You just had trouble getting it here in the beginning. Ordering.
Did they straighten out eventually?
I think so.
It's interesting because Morton through AvCog is like a full $10 higher. Well, I guess I'm willing to, I'm more than willing to put the road commissioner's suggestion in this because he knows more about how it really plays out than we do.
I know he had a lot of trouble. He was getting nervous sometimes.
The fact of the matter is we get an awful lot more ice storm now than we used to. We used to just get snow and make it blow. Not plowing ice storm.
One to make a motion.
Yeah.
I move we approve, ordering our salt through Avcog this year per the road commissioner's recommendation.
I second it.
Second,
All in favor?
Right along.
Yeah.
Road report C, and it's
Tucker Road, culverts,
That's me.
L.
So, I have an issue with this FEMA stuff. Because a lot of the. roads-
FEMA, you mean?
Yeah, because a lot of the roads that are getting washed out are due to people that don't take care of the culverts and clean them. And, I can remember,
What is this? I can't
that's
remember.
actually a plank across the culvert where Jeremy's sister lives, and the driveway almost washed out. The other ones are rocks in culverts, right on Tucker Road. This one here is a boulder right by my driveway in the culvert. This one here, there's actually a culvert right there you can't even see.
Well,
and
I
I
can
am-
see the color, I can see the color.
I am sure there's many, many more culverts like this, and this is why they washed
Are
out.
these are driveway culverts?
Nope, the road culvert.
Crossways.
Yep,
Here you go, Sue.
no, you can give it to her.
thank you.
So, what I did is I called FEMA. And I asked them if I could meet with them to show them what's going on, because I don't believe that FEMA should be paying for this stuff when. We have people working for us that are supposed to take care of this culvert. There's one on Town Farm, there's a pile of leaves still out there. On the driveway, and I was there when Henderson was cleaning, it was just a bunch of sticks got stuck in there.
Mm-hmm.
So people, I remember Kathy, when she went out in the winter time with Willie, they were pouring rock salt in the culverts, trying to get them to flow. Remember that, Kathy? Then another time, I remember Lee, when I said, Lee, the culvert in front of my house is gonna wash out. Lee, the next storm is gonna wash out. Lee, it washed out, and you said to me, well, FEMA will pay for it. That's what you told me,
Which one is this one?
right on my driveway.
By your driveway?
Yeah, you can't see it. Well, what happens is, when the road is graded. Water, if you see my driveway, I got a berm there to try to keep the water from going down my driveway, and it runs down. I'll dig that out. I dug the other side out. But this, I mean, if I go around, I will find many, many culverts that are clogged with branches and sticks. And now you expect FEMA to pay for this stuff, which I don't think is right. I'm sorry. So when I meet with them, I know when somebody takes somebody out and shows them stuff, then I can show them everything. They want to go for a ride, I'll take them for a ride.
You've already been.
So some of the reasons we are replacing these culverts with bigger culverts is so that it better flows through and doesn't clog up so easily in the springtime with debris and everything else.
Sometimes it's not the size of the culverts, like I got a big culvert next to my house, it got a rock in it, like. I can't even pick that rock up, there's a 4x8 across the culvert, across from my driveway, almost washed out Jeremy's sisters, and Bim drives by that every day, 10 times a day. And he's on a grader up high, so he should have been able to see it, sorry. But. I mean,
Okay,
This is where I stand, in the culvert on Tucker Road that needs to be replaced. When Mr. Bim said that I didn't do it, so I had to put up with it for 13 years because he didn't do it. I don't understand that.
now which one is this one?
One that goes. One that has a faucet.
By your house,
Towards Chuck's.
or by Chuck's?
Yeah, you remember the one that sinks because when they put it in, they didn't put the right dirt back. So he said, I didn't do it, which has been done 13 years ago, David Bragg did it. So don't do it because you didn't do it, I don't understand that statement, sorry. I'm done with that,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll let you know how I make out with people, and I know,
They're gonna come back they're gonna come back?
No,
Leave it.
there's no private damage. There wasn't enough private damage to consider it a disaster, only public.
so even the public, some of the public, can be talking about driveways or something.
Culverts on roads, yes, but they've already. been
They said
now
it's not
reached.
something to do it, it's not giving you-
We're working on it, but they've already come, one group came last week, one came this week to drive around roads.
Yeah, I just want, if they're going out with them, and we've done this with the Eagles up in the Barrens, we will take the inspector for the best times. You know, we're not gonna show them all the bad stuff.
They were out for what, 2.5? You went with them.
Right,
I went
did
with
you
them.
take them to, did you take them down Tucker Road and see this stuff?
I think we're down Tucker Road.
No, I know.
He might have the first time around, so I didn't go with him the first time around. I went this second time
So,
around.
mailman was backing into their driveway, and there's a drop like this much, because it almost washed out. And he hit that thing, and man, he almost flew off the seat here and only been up. I mean, this is only Tucker Road, this is only right by my house. So
Yeah, I'll mention it to him.
you could imagine, I mean, my theory on this is, and you could say yay or nay. If you had like a John Deere 410 and you had a dump truck, there's a John Deere 410 on wheels, you can go and clean out every culvert without ditching the whole road. You just drive down the road, take a couple of scoops out of the front of the culvert, a couple scoops out of the back of the culvert, and move on. I mean, it would take you a couple of days to do everything.
You wouldn't necessarily have to replace the culverts.
You know,
Seems like when we have any work done on culverts, we end up having to replace the whole thing.
Well, it all depends on how you want to do it, but I mean, you need to clean the culverts. I mean, there's trees that fall in the culvert. You can have the biggest culvert you want, but
oh yeah, I see a few the other day that where this last rainstorm with brush and you name it, got in front of them and behind them, and I see some the other day.
right, and it doesn't take much to clean them out. And I do.
I'll ask him,
I hear you.
I'll ask him
hear
if he
ya.
can't get his crew together and go around and check some of these. Start cleaning them out.
I mean, I can't.
But some of these rainstorms that are coming in, like the last one recently, that was like 1.5, 2 inches. That could clog a culvert, and he might have just cleaned them a month ago. So is that one of his priorities? I'm just asking because I only have a year's experience and I don't remember talking about cleaning culverts.
Fall, then you
Previous.
don't have any problem again, because the branches, usually when the leaves fall, that's when you're gonna have that.
Yep.
And that's why you were having trouble when you were going around with salt, because
Yep.
they were getting clogged up. It's not rocket science.
No, it's not.
Kathleen, you have something?
No, I was just gonna say preventative maintenance, if they went and cleared those once a year or once every few months, just do it. And then you don't have to call MEMA.
Yeah.
I would say spray, right? Because that's when you get the bulk leaf, dropping in sticks.
Yeah.
So once every few months would require at least a week or two of that road crew cleaning culverts, correct?
No,
Culverts across the town?
it wouldn't take that much, and if you really wanted to, you could ask the public to say, hey, send me pictures of your culvert. You know, and then if they have a problem, then you can send somebody out to clean it. I mean, it's just awareness that is gonna save the town money in the long run.
I'll mention it to him.
All right,
Well, the last meeting, well, 2 meetings ago, when they had the whole culvert issue. The thing was, that person said they had been calling Vim since January. And no response. I mean, why do we pay somebody to do something when they don't even answer phone calls? They need to be responsible. I mean, if that's his job, answer the call and do it rather than waiting for something to fester like that
Oh, yeah.
and causing a huge problem. You gotta be ahead
Yeah,
of the game instead of behind the ball and just.
I do want to remind people that BIM is out on job sites every single day, and that maybe calling the town office, not that Leah needs more calls, but call or email the town office so that we can keep a log of those calls and
telling people.
be able to track it so that we can let the road crew know that there's a problem.
Because
There might be a better system in place
You say,
versus,
Pick up one at a time.
Hey,
go ahead.
Stu was talking.
okay, everybody all done?
Thank you.
Ken?
Took a picture of the culvert on Church Street in Valley.
Sorry.
This is a culvert that's at fault of gravel washed out on May 5th. First.
Oh, yeah, by the cemetery?
Yep,
That was on the FEMA list.
it
Yeah.
is on the FEMA
Yeah.
list.
Yeah.
Okay, because I didn't think that he had gotten to it yet.
Yeah, we was up there the other day.
And I fixed the driveway.
And
But
ours is not.
I
that
wasn't
busy.
sure, you're talking culverts and. thought it
Yeah.
was-
I walk the roads just saying that
Thank you.
at work. And every driveway culvert is just. the
Oh,
same.
yeah. Okay, constable report. We have one. Due to warm weather, I am seeing more and more people coming to the beach. However, not all of them have parking stickers. I have confronted all and asked if they had one, and 50% don't, not even from Hartford. They are told to leave and not to return till so. I have also spoken to 2 boaters who were pulled right up on the beach, and a gentleman that was from Rumford resting on the beach drinking a 12-pack of beer, and he was asked to leave as well. I kept a journal with all plate numbers. Can we get a porta potty as soon as possible? People are asking and using the woods.
I'd like to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Steve, how is it being going with telling people if they have to leave now? Are they shoving, you tell people they have to leave, are they shoving off?
No,
Are they respectfully disappearing?
no, I had one guy that called me out today. Didn't leave all the constable, to be with the constable. Showed him my badge and the paperwork, and he goes, oh, you must have the old guy who's retired then, thank you for your service.
There you go. Was that the 12-pack guy?
Some young guy, with a bunch of kids, and I can say he's Arthur, I haven't seen him in my life.
Hmm,
His
Huh.
picture was Dan.
That's okay. There are a lot of people here you've never seen before.
Kathleen,
Is there a way for him to, sell tickets, no,
No,
okay.
no, they need to go to town office.
If people wanted to go that day, to just give him a fee and
no, they have to go see
It does
Leanne.
not work that way.
just.
And one over in the bathroom, and really, most likely, you know, in the woods, because there's nowhere else to go, and there's 30 people down there on Saturday.
I
How
can't
often-
believe they're
how
swimming
often are you
already.
going down to the beach? Oh my God, I went
I
swimming today as well.
was there. On the grant 2 days in a row, like 14, 15 hours, and the county worked on that, so now, railings and all that.
So there's actually people using the railing, using the ramp while you're working on it.
One guy was smoking a cigarette and he walked away from the water. There's no sign saying he was smoking, so. A lot of people will be respectable, they smoke right on the beach, right around people, right around kids. And we do something about that, but. the
Yeah.
one guy that
And
actually
of course, they pitch their butts on the ground.
Came up toward me, he was smoking, I told him I was very thankful for respecting him, he stepped away from the people. Came back towards me by the ramp, spoke. But I don't there, down by the people, but. The buoys are out now, they were all rolled up in a pile, all, it was spring there until yesterday, but they just up out.
Mhm.
I was telling kids not to play in them, people were doing stuff, the road, signing the tables. But yes, it's quite a ordeal. There's a lot of people that I know who they are and they don't live in Hartford and, you know, just,
And so you're just telling them they need to shut off?
oh, yeah, yeah. They get food on their windshields. You know, worrying about.
And it
Good.
seems to be working okay.
uh,
Well, thanks for the report.
Yeah,
I did talk to Bulldog Towing today. He happened to come in. I said, you all ready to tow some cars? He said, yep, I'm on it.
good.
Where is he gonna tell them to?
That garage in West Paris we talked about last year.
Okay,
It's good.
oh, there you go. Then the fun will begin.
Okay,
Somebody's not happy.
CEO report. ACO, them. Plan board,
They're gonna be meeting on Monday next.
next Monday.
Yeah. I came home tonight hoping that my laundry would be dry and it was wet from a rain shower.
Mhm.
It actually starts to rain.
Ordinance committee. Yeah,
Of course, I joined the ordinance committee, last year in good faith so that I could work on ordinances for the town. And, it's meant a lot to me to be on the ordinance committee. So, my concern is that we're not meeting anymore, we haven't for a while. So I was looking at the administrative ordinance, last August. And it says committee shall meet monthly as requested by the select board. Or as be necessary by the committee chair. So, my challenge was that I believe that when I joined the ordinance committee. And the select board gave us the 3 ordinances to review. That we would. So when I get down to the ordinance committee, subsection, it says ordinance committee shall be charged with drafting new ordinances by the request of the select board. The committee will draft changes like amendments to current ordinances as requested. I think Kathy has spoken to you about this before, but my concern is as a citizen of the town of Hartford and volunteering for a committee that they would meet monthly and that I could be involved in the process of doing what the select board charged us to do. At this point, as far as the ordinance committee goes, it's kind of a sad state of affairs to me, because we haven't met since February. So,
Yeah,
It's not a good thing.
right,
Leanne,
So how, would you pick?
Hold on. It's called
Leanne.
Leanne.
I heard today that the ordinance committee will have a meeting in July. And they will wait for the revised list for July 1st. You guys provide them with a list. I know they were waiting for DOT to contact them about a no spray ordinance, but I don't think they ever did.
I don't- Bill was gonna get after them, wasn't he gonna get in touch with them, I thought?
I called too, and they have not given me a date to come. I know they've been busy. I've just gotten lip service, no date. To come to a meeting or even do a Zoom call with them.
Hmm,
So have not
well,
met,
shall we
have
see
not
what,
met since February.
shall we see what happens in July?
And met regularly over the winter?
yes.
Why couldn't they have it meet in June?
I have the minutes still from February 15th that have not been reviewed by the ordinance committee, because we have not met since February 15th.
I'm wondering why couldn't they meet in June instead of July? This month,
It's not to me, that's what I was told.
Yes,
There,
yeah,
you
both
guys
of
are
them.
gonna, it's too late to work on ordinance now, town meeting, the
Yeah.
warrant is signed, every. So you guys will create a new list July 1st or first meeting in July. And then give that to the ordinance committee. That's how it's usually done.
Mhm.
mm-hmm. Okay, we'll see what happens in July, Bonnie. We'll go from there. Okay,
How does that work with the ordinance committee? I sign papers to say I would join the ordinance committee. When does that all get figured out? How does that work? I don't even know how it works, so.
New members for committees are appointed after July 1st, which is the start of the new fiscal year. And that will be depending on if somebody gets done. Generally speaking,
So
if
if
somebody
somebody-
gets off every year.
So if some of these things expired, do they automatically get to stay on? or-
Not necessarily, but it depends on whether they really, it turns out they wanted to.
Leanne,
That's what happened last year anyway.
I have that on the agenda. I figured since Kathy is most likely going to win the election, we would appoint. You guys would appoint officials at the next meeting, so everyone's in place by July 1st, if we me and
Mhm.
Scott And there are probably one member of each committee that is expiring, and was going to ask you when it was time
I
to
noticed,
contact people to see if they were still willing to serve.
right, I did notice this.
And of course, we can't appoint alternates until after town meeting to see how that ordinance goes. when it's
Right,
approved.
I don't think there is, so Luando Brand would expire
This year?
yes. So he's the one that someone has to talk to. You wish to give him a call? You know, and of course, you know, that all depends, you know, whether he's willing to serve. I mean, the fact that somebody's willing to continue to serve doesn't necessarily mean we have to appoint that person, because if we're not especially happy with that person's service in that capacity.
Alternate, I don't think Kathleen is no more interested.
Excuse me?
Kathleen,
There's no
Holmes.
alternates
oh. Okay,
yet.
And one of the things is that Luando also sits on the solid waste and recycling committee, does he not? That's all I remember, isn't it?
yeah,
Are alternates only for the boards and not the committees? That's because I don't know the difference. Because they usually, when I was in the planning board, usually there was an alternate on the board, so is there a difference between boards and committees as far as alternates go?
Bradley,
I believe in the ordinance, the planning board has provisions for alternates. But they left out with committee alternates. They didn't include any.
It was an oversight in the drafting of the administrative ordinance, which is actually quite a shame, because
Yeah.
that administrative ordinance took a lot of work. So I said, transport. Food committee. Ordinance.
Is there a fire warden report this month?
We
No.
don't, so we didn't.
we ain't got that far yet.
So this doesn't actually include the
skipping.
solid waste and recycling committee. But I can see. Hmm.
No, that will be on the next agenda. Appointments.
Mhm. Everything answer your question, Bonnie?
Yes. Thank you.
Fire warden report,
No.
nothing. Treasurer,
Happily, nothing to report. When we get through the month, there is nothing to report.
Hmm.
We don't have a treasury report this month.
I have the expense report.
Just do this.
I can report,
Okay. just-
I haven't received the proposal from Northeast Bank yet, but I'm thinking we're going to change banks. How can we turn down all that money?
Change banks to
Northeast.
Northeast. And how much money would we be gaining?
Androscoggin is offering, if we join into a fraud alert program, 2.10. Northeast said over the phone, 4.5.
Percent.
Yeah. So we have to say. We have to,
Well, you know, I think that's kind of how they do.
unless we put the money into CDs, but then it ties it up.
mm,
Yeah. That's how banks do, is, you know, if they can consider you a new customer,
Mhm.
they'll offer you a good deal.
But
Okay.
Androscoggin, when I get the proposal, I'll bring everything. Androscoggin has something to say about being a Maine bank, all the money stays in Maine and
Mhm.
Northeast doesn't. That's
I'm,
what I
I'm
think.
sure it doesn't.
Cemetery committee report.
I guess I already talked about the lockout. And they can go right on the load up. Of gravel, to fix one of them. I just hope that we get back up there, clean culverts and material that washed into the ditch. And there's other pictures where there's a foot drop off on the edge of the top. But you said that you never saw that, he must not have seen it when he did other work on Church Street. But good that he's got that now.
I think he knows about.
We had a workshop at Oxford Center on the 20th. We had a pretty good turnout for committee members, 2 select board, a budding property owner, and 3 volunteers. So we had quite a crew there. I know Kathy, if you want to speak on what transpired with the budding landowner. Or Susan.
Yeah, met with Ramsey,
Yeah.
Shrek, she come down, and Ricky Farrow, we had him come down. And she has okayed to cut all the big pines back at that cemetery. And enough so we can
So,
reroute,
and she's gonna have to put them out, or?
Ricky gonna cut them down. And so we can have a road like it used to be years ago, go up and around and come back down on the other side.
Yes, sir.
So we can build a road back.
So that was a committee, a win-win situation for the town, the cemetery, for the abutting landowner. They already have the yard that they can plant trees in. It'll look a lot better. We'll be able to take a truck in, a car in, and be able to drive all the way with it. Like it intended to be when it was able to be over in 1800. So that was, it was a very successful day. We stood the stones up, leveled them, and we cleaned about 8 stones on the front. Still a lot of work to do. And he did the big pine tree that's down in the back. Rick said he would take care of that, take off the stone, and then we'll fix that as well. We just need to make sure that we write the agreement that we need to have with the abutting and branch.
Yeah, Sue's gonna take care of that.
So we're gonna do that.
Yep, I'm working on it.
Okay,
Awesome.
I knew you would be.
I told you it'd be a couple weeks, so
Yep.
I had a lot of back-to-back
Then I
other
gotta,
work.
I think about branches down in Thompson Cemetery when he was over there. He wasn't able to remove them, so I'm gonna cut them up, remove those. He cleaned up, and then talking to Kathy, we went over to Howard Ricker on the next day on the 24th, and did the same thing there. A lot of limbs down there, cut those up and got rid of those. Also visited Swan, Meeting House, Fuller, and Glover. There's one more thing that possibly could be a FEMA May 1st water damage. I don't know if it has gone in to the road in front of Glover. That is just, you probably went to.
Which one's Glover?
Glover's up past me.
Up past
Up
Labrador.
past,
Oh, yeah.
Just
you
continue
go
forward.
Well,
up
for
past,
Burgess.
yes, Burgess Road.
Won't cover that. Okay, because it's totally rock up there now. There's no gravel.
Yeah.
Just solid rock, you know, and even to get in there for Steve to get in there with his mowing equipment. I wouldn't want to bring a trailer,
I was up there the other day.
just gonna be.
I don't know if they just put that rock there, hoping that during a rainstorm wouldn't wash out the hill,
Well, it did pretty
Why?
good, saved it from going, but it's, like a cobblestone rock road. So,
put water bars in?
Yeah,
Well, there's no ditch.
there ain't no ditch on either side.
Yeah, it's a little bit like down past my house. You'd have to do so much work to bring it down. Yeah, and that road was actually fairly passable, but the people that lived in the place at the foot of the hill lobbied hard to have the town close the road.
Hmm.
And,
There were a couple of years ago.
well, I've been through it, it wasn't that long ago, in a car, not a truck. But, you know, it hasn't been maintained, so
I would
It's not
not
getting
walk
better.
on a low riding car.
I would recommend.
No, I wouldn't either.
We went to Meeting House, Meeting House, as we know, notorious for stones. We ended up picking up a slate stone that had fallen over, standing that back up for, the guy's name was William Cushman, died in March 25th, 1849. A lot of, repairs on all the cemeteries, but that's all of that. Next meeting,
It's
gonna
good.
be here June 17th. Meeting's gonna be together at 8 o'clock.
Great, thanks.
I have a question for Ken.
Good,
Through the moderator, the chairman.
good.
Call on me and ask.
There was some damage to one of the cemeteries in the December storm. And Ken sent me pictures, but I still need a log of hours, dates and hours to report to FEMA if it can be put together.
So that picture of the trees. I would
We
say,
can work with Ken and get those hours together.
the one at the Hartford Center, I don't have any hours in on that particular tree at all yet. Because Rick Shrek said he would take care of it and cut the other prongs.
Yeah,
And
Ricky.
that needs some heavy equipment to lift it off. He's gonna use his excavator. I guess if you wanna put a sign in on Thompson the other day in Howard River, because I believe those are from the December storm. Because the pine needle and limbs. I probably had an hour in the cemetery, so. That's just the time.
Thanks, Ken, for everything you guys do. Okay, calendar reminders. Employee violations, Monday, June 5th, starting at 5:30. 5:30. Free sale, June 3rd, 2023.
And you can bring your stuff on Friday night, being tomorrow night. Last chance Sunday morning, but no more stuff brought. I was just reading with it, you can't bring any more stuff after, Saturday morning. You can't make it on Friday to bring your stuff, you can bring it on Saturday morning, but not after that.
And
And volunteers are still needed.
And we have a public hearing, June 8th, 2023, ordinance amendments, warrant articles, and ATV use on town roads. We're discussing. Municipal and school elections referendum, June 13th, 8 to 8, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And the bulky waste collection, June 15th. I see some tires out there, but it didn't look like it had any
I
stick.
told them not to put the stickers on yet.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, okay, because they're stealing them there last year, that's right. Yep. Public hearing fee schedule 2023-2024, June 15th, 6:30. Unfinished business. Cemetery inspections. I've seen a few of them and they seem to look okay. You seen any, Sue?
I have, a couple were not done by Memorial Day. My plan next week is to actually hit as many as I can to make sure that they are all done. By next week, that all of them are set up.
Mode.
I know it's due by June 30th, but I know we asked him to have them all done by Memorial Day.
Mode by Memorial,
We just check and make sure they was.
okay, and some of them were not.
Correct. Some were not. The cemetery committee, as Ken will attest to, cleaned up all the sticks and stuff out of them when they didn't need to be mowed because they, were very mossy, including Kathy and I did one on Gurney Hill and nothing had been done. And we were picking up big sticks and tree branches, and trees have been growing up between all the crosses, but nobody had been out there. So I will follow up next week on many of these and see if anything's been done since then. Because I know we're meant to cut him a check at the end of June. And we ought to require that his contract be met before we pay him.
Well, hopefully a new broom sweeps clean.
I'll have that log done for our next select board meeting, Lee and Kathy.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll work with Ken and Kathy and we'll all gather out and hit all of them.
Okay. Open session. Anybody got anything? Anybody on there got anything?
Oh, Ken has his, Tim has his hand up.
Tim?
Yeah, hi, folks. Cemetery committee, by the way, is doing a heck of a job, so
Thank
keep
you.
up the good work. It really is amazing, and it's good to see. I'm wondering if the June 8th review of the warrant might be an opportunity to readdress the oversight on our annual request. Is that an opportunity to do that prior to the town meeting?
I don't believe so.
No?
No, I'm so sorry. The warrant has already been drawn up. The budget was formed, weeks and weeks ago. And we can't really,
Could Tim bring it up at the town meeting? I'm just wondering, I don't know.
I don't believe so, because there's not an article to address that. I mean, if there was already an article to raise funds for the Lake Association, then it could be brought up to raise or lower that amount. But there's not, we
I mean, it's a routine annual thing that
yes,
was clearly a clerical oversight.
sure.
And it involves protecting the lake, and it's actually earmarked for the monitoring of the lake that Tom Hamilton does. So it's not something that's unusual or special in any way. It was just a clerical oversight. I just wanted to know if we have any other opportunities before town meeting or even at town meeting, I mean, for people to speak to the situation. Obviously, we apologize for the confusion, but it's just an unfortunate oversight.
I don't know what to say, in terms of an official request, there is no way, I suppose. We could
Are
have-
there other,
Donations?
is there other discretionary funds separate from the warrant and the annual budget? Typically, we have contingency funds for various things that pop up. Is that a process that can be talked about later?
No.
I'm honestly not sure what to say.
Okay, well, something to think about.
Generally speaking, that's not the sort of thing that contingency addresses. But,
Okay,
but
well,
I'm more than willing to help you brainstorm some ideas on how to raise that money. We're talking about $500, is that
Mhm.
correct?
yeah, I mean, we're accruing it to buy new analysis equipment that is up, it's got to be replaced.
$500 is not that much to hope to be able to raise.
I understand.
And
All
so,
right, well,
you know, because I'd be happy to help you brainstorm on some other ways to raise that money and, you know, this will be part of this steep learning curve of never letting this slide again.
that is for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And my baking skills aren't that good, so a bake sale is not gonna do it. But, yeah, I just thought I'd see if there was any other opportunity between now and the finality of the, town meeting. But anyhow, move on.
Anybody else have anything? No. Good. New business, junkyards, Terrell, Bazzelli. Go ahead.
I understand that, I mean, Kathy, I understand that you've been going out talking to people that have junkyards and trying to straighten them out. Did you ever talk to Lee about it? I mean, she should be the example for this town, that junkyard permit that's expired. She should pay her back fees or get rid of her cars. So I'm not trying to ditch you or anything, Lee, but be an example in the town, being a select person. Have a junkyard that doesn't have a permit and has to pay for a long time.
Yeah, she's gonna.
Oh, look at it. It's up to you. These other people ain't gonna fall in line unless the selectman falls in line. Rules are rules. Rules are rules, Lee.
Hmm.
Happy? If you're sending her out to do your dirty work, but yet you're being dirty.
Kathleen.
This is the junkyard license history. Three of them, it's been since 2001, and that would be this guy, Lee and Ryan. And if you figure out since 2001 that they haven't paid those $50, that's $1,050 per person that goes to the town that has not been collected. That's $3,150 of our taxpayers' money that has not been paid. And it says right on there, on the form, it's an annual fee. And why, as a selectman, is she not paying that?
Okay, we just had about,
Who's
I
Vicky?
brought it up before. And last
Who's this
week,
guy?
you guys gave me a blank face and
Who's this guy?
nothing, so now I'm saying
He's down this one.
$1,050.
What's that?
He probably has some cars, but he didn't get it.
And that should be paid back. That's our money. Why is that not being, who's supposed to enforce this? I mean, as a selectman, you know.
Okay, so Leanne, can you tell us which year it was that the Hartford junkyard ordinance was repealed?
Not off the bat, I can go to the office and find out.
You know, I mean, it just seems to me that it's valid information.
Okay.
You know, I mean, we can,
You want me to bring the junkyard law in?
you know, it's up to you. I mean, if you want to bring the whole 9 yards.
It's not up to me.
Kathy, can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
You guys saying that junkyard was healed or something?
The
It doesn't
junkyard?
exist?
That was before your time paying attention.
I
isn't
think
it?
so.
Yeah.
Well, if it doesn't exist, how are you?
Before my
That's
time.
correct. That is correct. I
Why are
think
you turning her around, doing your dirty work?
No, it was going up to, Howells.
I guess the ordinance at one time said you can't have more than 4 cars. Or something like that.
well, okay, so the state law is that no more than 3 unregistered vehicles on property. However, there was a time when the town of Hartford actually had its own junkyard ordinance, and that was repealed at town meeting with the plan that we would use the state statute,
Mm-hmm.
which which works for, you know, is aimed specifically at, commercial operations. And yes, I've got some cars on my lot and, in the past, you know, haven't really talked much to our new code officer about it, but when Bill Kennedy, who was one of the better code officers we've ever had, could see that, you know, I basically had hobbyist cars as hobbies, and I don't have like random cars. They are all of one breed, parts and so forth. And the cars I have on my lot, all of them were drained of all fluids in a garage before they were set out.
How many cars do you have? I know I see 4, but didn't know where to drive.
Yeah, there's more than that. You know, I'd have to go down and count because I've had some hauled out.
But I mean, if you go by state statute, you're over.
On the permit fees from the state, this is on the state. It says at the graveyard or junkyard, $50 for each application. Plus cost of posting and publishing the notice under the section. So if she knows she has more than 4 vehicles. And it's been 21 years, she hasn't paid that $50 fee. Not just her, the others as well. Well, why aren't these being collected? I mean, you yourself should be responsible to do that. I mean, that's our money, that's the town, that's like.
Let's see what she comes back with on. It's real,
Right, she says that the words that don't have
it's
them.
power that override it, so.
She, while she's.
Can only be stricter than what the state. The state has standards.
That's correct.
The state has standards and you have to follow those standards. You can be less than, but you can be more than. In fact, I'm going to just give you this one. This is the town of Farmington.
Okay, and this on theirs, as an example, they require the abutting property owner to sign a release form, and if they don't get a release form signed, hello, you're not getting it done.
So why aren't we getting stricter
We
policies like
don't do that.
Why should we, why
Huh?
don't we? But that's not a state, they have, because I couldn't find that. Either asked to make it more strict, and they made that stricter by law, we should. I mean, I don't want somebody coming in next door to me and having a junkyard, I'd be.
And she won't fight it. God, she won't fight it.
The amount of taxes I pay, I don't wanna.
Because she didn't call her.
Somebody buys that.
And now. Was she saying I drained the fluids? No, it's not okay. See, it says 3 vehicles.
From my list.
13.
Reference. Basically the dates. All the junkyard ordinances and laws are in here. The old ones and.
Well, they brought pictures. I sent them out to our yard. You should go drive by. If I said about junkyards, go drive by her house. Pictures. and
Area used by an automobile hobbyist to store, organize, restore, or display.
Breaking the rules. Changing them all.
Motorcycles, classic vehicles, horseless carriages with constructed vehicles, street rods, parts of these vehicles are defined in. As long as the hobbyist activities comply with all applicable federal and state statutes and rules and municipal ordinances, rather other than ordinances that are more restrictive than the subsection regarding the storage of vehicles
Sheriff filed
parts
license.
collected by a hobbyist, except that a
Yeah,
municipal
she just
ordinance may require areas
Ordering
of
the
the
ordinance.
hobbyists to comply with the screening requirements. For the purposes of this subparagraph, an automobile hobbyist is a person who is not primarily engaged in the business of selling any of these vehicles or parts from those vehicles.
So you're not considered a junkyard if you're not selling.
That's how I read it. And that's how, this is the state. This is the state. Shall I read this aloud?
What is that?
This is definitions, number, section 1 automobile graveyard under Title 30A. subpart 6, subchapter 1. 2, an automobile graveyard does not include 2, an area used by an automobile hobbyist to store, organize, restore, or display antique autos, antique motorcycles, classic vehicles, horseless carriages, reconstructed vehicles, street rods, or parts of these vehicles, as these vehicles are defined in Title 29A, Section 101. That is /29A, Title 29A, Section 101 HTML, as long as the hobbyist activities comply with all applicable federal and state statutes and rules and municipal ordinances, other than ordinances that are more restrictive than this subsection regarding the storage of vehicles or vehicle parts that are collected by a hobbyist, except that a municipal ordinance may require areas used by an automobile hobbyist to comply with screening requirements in Section 3754-A, subsection 1, paragraph A, and Title 30A, Title 30A, et cetera. That's all an internet link that doesn't work on this page. And the standards in Section 3754A, subsection 5, paragraph A, paragraph B, et cetera, et cetera. For the purposes of this subparagraph, an automobile hobbyist is a person who is not primarily engaged in the business of selling any of those vehicles or parts from those vehicles. That is where I have stood.
So does that mean anybody can have multiple vehicles and not be actively selling them? I know other people that have got stuff. I'm just curious because they're gonna come ask me and I want to make sure as a select board member, I know what I'm talking about.
You know, I'm not going to try to elaborate beyond just saying beyond reading what I just read to you.
Right, so you're a automobile enthusiast. I want to make sure when they tell me that's what they are, I'm all good.
A Ford or a Dodge or a Chevy on the lot.
There were some things that I didn't understand. I started going wrong on the sidetracks.
Right, well, and some of those were actually printed from the internet, so some of them were internet links.
You're gonna have to-
Sure.
I know.
Kathy,
Steve,
You have vehicles 25 years ago that are being used, and it's a hobby. You can have, if you want to drink, you can have all you want.
She used to sell Volvo parts.
no, all of the cars,
Junkyard.
not cars that are still running. I mean, there's a car I retired last month, and that one's still yard that hasn't been.
like Mr. Harlow, he buys and sells.
He's in the business of lugging them in to buy and sell and crush them out and so forth.
Susie Hanson.
So
What?
who had a
Your
hand
hand
up?
is up?
Oh, no, it's the icon. Never mind.
Oh,
Sorry. Anyways, that's where I have stood. This is obvious. You know, there's not a Toyota on the lot, nor a Nissan, nor anything else. It's only Volvos.
I like
And
it.
at one time I was in the Volvo business. I was a mechanic for years.
Leanne,
She can go.
Is it
So
raining?
are you saying it's okay for her to have a junkyard and not pay her fee?
Well, it's different mandates.
It says you won't get one.
Is it raining out?
Not yet.
just a wind blowing the thing.
You sure? I've been
I just-
closing my eyes.
Oh, yeah, it is.
I think we read the definitions and it said lumber, furniture. Anything that's. Covering up your yard.
Just read the proper screening.
It's all Volvo. She's saying that she's an enthusiast. She's not trying to sell parts. She's saying she's a hobby.
Huh?
Yeah.
It's our definition of proper screening would be fencing. We have these if you're including this or hobbyists. If you have proper screening and fencing, and you.
Could be for Kevin.
So Kathy,
Yeah,
the people, I'll just use someone who has a current junkyard that's filling other yards full of junk. Can he come back and say they're not junkyards because he's an enthusiast of parts, pieces and junk, and therefore he doesn't have to clean up the yard?
It's a business.
you mean Kevin?
No, I mean, the gentleman at the end of Town Farm Road that already currently has a junkyard, but has two properties that not under his name that he's hauling stuff into.
So Rodney?
Correct.
Probably shouldn't, mention names.
Yeah.
Kathy, is he licensed?
I mean, anyone can use that they're an enthusiast. I'm just
Uh,
saying, we gotta be able to enforce the rules. And so
Huh?
we already sent letters out to one gentleman. I just
Yep,
want to
I
make
can
sure
see.
that we're not in trouble for doing that. If he's a mobile home and equipment hobbyist.
Yeah, we gotta clamp down on him.
Yeah, well, he asked us, Kathy, when you and I were out there about it. Those are the two properties. I want to be able to answer his questions, so.
What do you ask you?
He asked you and I about the other two properties when we were leaving.
And what did he
Um,
ask about them?
Should this be an open session? Or,
He asked,
We're not in open
he
session.
asked how much equipment he can have there, and he's moved a lot off. And what equipment, like the housing and house he hauled in there and stuff. What he's gonna be allowed to have there before we start clamping down, because we already sent him certified letters. So we need some clarification there. On junkyard stuff. We gotta have clarification, because we gotta enforce the rule across the board. We can't just do it for one or two. I just want a real uniform rule, especially if people are coming to the meeting. I didn't know we're coming tonight with other stuff. I just wanna make sure we're fair for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm sure he has some things too.
Who? Yeah. Don't think so.
Excuse me, could you identify the speakers?
We got Al Zelli and Kathleen Terrio. Bonnie Bishop, Sue is zooming with us. And Steve Elsman.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll put at the table.
Please.
Good.
Got to Title 38, David Terry, excuse me for not identifying myself. Title 38 municipalities and counties, part 2 municipalities, chapter 183 specifically is economic regulation. That's what we're talking about. But there must be another chapter on hazard, accountability, or that sort of, I know. This specifically chapter 183, which I guess took off the book here, is economic regulation. So I'm wondering if there's other aspects of having junkyards, what you were saying, perhaps you need to green them. And the biggest thing is the biomass, into the ground, or the biggest thing. So I think perhaps we should look further into it and. Well,
At one time,
The ordinance was, yeah,
at one time, they were complaining about the mercury in the hoods. Remember that?
Mercury switches. Right, and responsible recyclers actually were given, containers and instructions on how to safely remove them and contain them and, where to send them once removed. So
Good.
they didn't just go to the crusher. I'm not sure how anyone else deals with them, but.
go ahead, Steve.
I know you and Sue Lee are responsible for a lot. You have a code enforcement officer. And back in the day, these, stuff like this, we didn't see it that the police force officer would be out taking care of this stuff. And doing his job, make sense. But why isn't that like that anymore? What can we do to make that happen? So that this doesn't take up the time and your guys' time and your valuable time.
Leanne,
The law says the Board of Selectmen are the authority, and they can assign an agent to deal with these if they feel like
I
should,
think that's what a code officer amounts to, right?
but you have not done that.
mm-hmm. Kathleen,
And you wanna give the code enforcement officer a raise of $250, well, then he needs to earn it. And it says in there, I don't have this one about the code enforcement officer's job, you can give him. From what it says in there, in the job description, you can still, it says you can add in other things, so,
Well, sure.
you know. he's-
the valuation is coming up.
Yeah. But my thing is why is it taking? You know, someone like me who's just new to go to town meetings, and you're talking 21 years of people abusing this, and it's nobody's,
Yeah, we probably have been slack. Probably we have been slack.
slack. 21
Slack.
years is slack. Whoa, sorry. I mean, people need to be responsible. That's-
Yeah, I think they should give a little more. Within us.
What's that, Steve?
I think you guys are going to start doing this, and going to take difference.
Okay, we will table that.
Thank you for your input.
Thanks, you guys, for your input on everything.
Appreciate you listening.
Okay, request to use Hatford Beach, senior class, June 8th. As last time I knew, they was going to Gretchen's camp. I think she owns a camp on Bear Pond.
No, but you're talking about the town beach.
I know, but I think
yeah,
they've changed their mind.
You know, I'm not sure exactly why, but.
Have you heard any more on that?
Your request.
She called and asked if they could use the Hartford Beach on June 8th for the senior class trip, which is some Hartford students. Probably some Buckfield and Sumner. One bus
June 8th is a Thursday.
from, 9 to 2. First, she asked for permission to use the grill. I said no. She said, can we just have sandwiches? I said, yes, if it's approved.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I like the idea of letting them use the beach.
Yeah, I don't see
I
no,
don't have a problem with,
If it's a real hot day, it might be crowded down there. But one bus isn't gonna take up the whole parking lot.
And we got 1.5 ticket tables.
Pardon me?
We have 1.5 ticket tables.
You know, they may want to bring picnic blankets.
June 8th is a school day when
Yeah.
they're coming in the middle of the week, so it should be a very quiet beach day to begin with.
You would think, I mean, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm assuming it's not.
I make a motion to let the senior class use the beach on June 8th.
I second that.
All in favor? Okay. No spray ordinance.
All
Al,
right, I gotta tell you guys, a lot of the bee business because of this. They're all going to Waterford and give them all away for $90.
really?
Yeah, these are the pictures. Those are the signatures in the back of this pamphlet of how many people wanted us to have no spray. And Sue.
Oh, yes.
And Sue, for what you need to know is, we already met with CMP and the DOT. And they already told us what the requirements were.
That seems like it's
And one of them was, they just want to be able to see around corners on the state roads when you're pulling out, which we don't have very many except for Arthur has a bush there. The other one is the CMP. These trees are not going to touch these power lines in our lifetime anymore. They're so high. So whatever they think the cost is going to be for the town is going to be great to be able to. Somebody on Stetson Road actually cut the trees down with a chainsaw. So when the trees start getting taller, Aspen or whoever's doing the cutting, it's not gonna be a cost to the town to maintain this. There's nothing there. We already talked to them, and those were their requirements. This was like 3 or 4 years ago. I've been working on this for 13 years, dude. Jason Grant came in the town office 13 years ago and told me that they were spraying by his house, killing his bees. So I just can't go every year and spend thousands of dollars on bees and have people spray and kill the bees. Waterford and Stony is a better place for people to raise bees, the more friendly to the environment. So if you've seen all those pallets on front of my house and all the bees around the area, there's 45 bees I collected the other night. All night long, up to 1 o'clock. In the middle again. They're bored with the church that got it on. I just gave them away. I didn't ask anybody to buy them. And somebody that can probably take care of them, so.
Mm.
Oh, man, that's heartbreaking.
Well,
Do they,
you ought to see how heartbreaking it is when you walk up.
Al, do they spray on your road or?
Oh, yeah, I was following all.
They
over.
spray underneath the power lines. That's the thing, and
Well,
this is,
yeah, they're spraying on care. I was behind them one day. And I said to the guy, why are you spraying out of your truck? Out the window of your truck, right over water ditches. You know what they said? We're just doing it because our boss told us to do it. When they see me, they run the other way. Serious, they know that they're doing it wrong. And there was people in Sumner up on Black Mountain Road. When I went up there and showed them pictures of dead bees up there, they said, I thought they were spraying the ditches for mosquitoes. So believe me, when I tell you this has happened
They've
throughout
been around here lately.
here and throughout the state.
hey,
We, when I got the bees, I can tell you, we couldn't pollinate a cucumber. And I don't know what's gonna happen after all the bees are gone.
I know, I don't see very many honeybees.
I
these
just
days.
can't do it. You walk up to a hive that costs you thousands of dollars to get rid of it. I gave like $10,000 worth of bees. Just for the sake of trying to keep them alive.
What's the date of this petition?
You should have it in the record.
Oh, it's from.
Yeah, that's the rate of it.
This is-
It's about 3 or 4 years ago. And we actually approved it at the town meeting, the people in the town.
Right, and then the Board of Pesticides Control didn't disallowed us.
Well,
from putting it into effect.
all they said is, it came and they said, these are what you have, these are the requirements you have to do, you have to take care of the corner. Which,
That's what the DOT said. There were two different problems. One was the Board of Pesticides Control.
I was up with the Board of Pesticide Control, and they don't have any problem, went to the meeting. Board of Pesticide Control don't have anything to do with the CMP spraying underneath the power line.
He went to a meeting like 4 months ago.
I do remember that. And I talked to him about it. You know, and I just, and it's another thing is, and when I went around and did this petition, people realize that there's a lot of shallow wells. Spraying in ditches, going in streams, it's going everywhere, so. You know,
Yeah.
my recommendation is, there's other towns that have those sprayers, because we took the same information from other towns, but we didn't tell them we were doing it. That was the issue, we didn't tell them we were doing it before we did it.
Well, they wanted to, yeah.
That was the issue, but there's no big money for the town that's gonna cost.
Well, one of the things I remember is that we had, if I'm not mistaken, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, there was going to be 11 miles of road that we had to mow, but we only had to mow them every other year.
Right, but we don't really have to, I mean, there's nothing to mow. You're talking about.
To a great extent,
state
there's
road,
11 miles,
like,
there's 11 miles of state road, most of it, a lot of it is, you know, people's lawns and stuff.
Right.
I mean, you don't have to
Other
mow
people will
people's
cut their
lawns.
stuff, if they know that they're gonna get sprayed or take care of the brush, they're gonna take care of the brush. So do what you guys want to do, but I'm done with it, but they're gonna kill the other pollinators that left, like mason bees, and I don't see a lot of bumblebees this year.
I don't want bees either.
My house. And I live right next to the power line. I have
Well, you have Linwood sweat buddies,
Don't want it.
you turn it, right? The other one, you know. And some of the stuff, some of the pesticide kills and the herbicide kills, it's mostly, the bee inspector inspected my cones for pesticide and herbicide. But they're not inspecting the pollen. Which the bees are going, when you put 7 dust on a plant, the bees are dancing in that 7 dust. So whatever you spray on the plants on the side of the road, it's gonna be coming in pollen, it kills your bees over the winter. So I'm done with it, I can't deal with it. It's frustrating. I'm still gonna be involved with bees with the rural bee, with the kids. I got 11 high schools coming over on the 15th for a busload of kids. I got a Girl Scout group coming in probably September. Most likely it'll be up at the Wilton. They got big kids that want to learn about bees. I did 50 kids up at Arago not too long ago. They had a really great time. It was a really good meeting. But I just can't, you know, I don't want to tell them, look, you're gonna get bees and somebody's gonna kill them. I don't want to give them a negative.
Yeah.
I don't want to give them a negative. I want to say that Hartford is very,
We have not been very progressive in that regard.
like something.
They're saying.
Guys to the board, if you voted in, voted out. All right, so anyway, I'm done, thank you.
That's really sad.
Okay, I guess we go into executive session. Pursuant to MRSA 1. What's that, 8? Chapter 13, section 405. 6E, legal advice, tax foreclosure.
Second.
Second,
All in favor?
thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, good night, folks.
Thank you for coming. Oops, I'm on.
Hey,
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Clean up the dead bees.
So, what do we know for sure?
Hold
about
on.
this? Oh,
Did you get these slides? Yeah, it's only Sue on the, but I keep looking at
Let's
it.
see, that's challenging because you have to get rid of everybody else without getting rid of her, right?
Yeah, and they can join anytime they want. I didn't create a waiting room, so just keep an eye on it.
Okay. So what
So
do we
Sue
know?
doesn't, Sue, did you get the email
Which one?
about Blanchard?
Foreclosure.
Are you hearing us?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you get the email that I sent you?
Your internet connection is unstable.
I did. Yes. Yes.
what should I do? Let's see.
Oh, I didn't give it to you guys yet. Here.
Tentative agenda, I'm like, I don't. See, I'm scrolling my email because I can't find it.
Well, I sent it to her because she.
Okay.
Not here.
Okay, thanks. I never expected legal fees would be the main cost in settling this. Legal fees are the main cost and everything. The Harlow letters have cost us $1,000. You know?
Hmm.
So basically, he didn't know there'd be any attorney costs, legal fees on our side, and therefore he can't pay them.
That's right. We cannot cough up the job. His deadline has passed.
Right.
He did not pay. And so the other thing is that there's a major US Supreme Court decision impacting municipalities. You read that part too? Susan?
That email came in from him. What's the date on that, Leanne?
Came today.
Came in today, after the due date of the money.
Well, he did send one like last week asking if he could transfer money electronically to the town's account, and I said no. And the lawyer, he had called the lawyer, and the lawyer called to see if we could give him till Wednesday or Thursday, and I said I was planning to anyway, I didn't want to tell him that because I, you know. But if it would have come Wednesday, I would have accepted it because my
Right.
holiday. And then he sent this today. The lawyer said he was going to send a priority express mail check, money order or something. But he never did. I think he had called Tuesday, the lawyer, while I was here.
It is important to note that the decision does not call into question Maine's tax lien mortgage foreclosure statute or invalidate lien processes or lien foreclosures. However, because the decision will likely impact the treatment of excess sale proceeds from tax acquired property, we recommend that municipal leaders temporarily delay sales of such property or hold any proceeds in escrow until further guidance can be provided.
So there goes our lawyer fees. I got the fees.
Hmm.
And I do.
Which was freaking plenty.
I do have to send him, in the order it says, if he doesn't pay, that we are to send him a final, let me find it. Foreclosure notice. I don't know how much time we have to actually give him.
You know, I mean, I wish we could just say. Maybe I wish we could just say, okay, take another 30 days, just pay us. So we actually get.
It says if the debtor fails to make the settlement payment as and when contemplated. By the owner, the town may pursuant to 36 MRS as 943 immediately issue the notice of impending foreclosure of the 2019 tax lien certificate, and the 2019 tax lien certificate shall foreclose in accordance with. It's probably a 45-day notice, just like the normal one. So I have to send that. Then we can't do anything with it.
So,
To me, it should go into immediate foreclosure because we didn't
Yeah, well-
receive the money yet, which is the other part of the deal in dismissing the bankruptcy.
sure, and what about this lesson? If the 2019 tax lien certificate is foreclosed and set for hearing, the debtor shall promptly execute and deliver to the town a quitclaim deed without covenants,
I know.
and the property shall be conveyed to the town. So that, is this saying that the town doesn't automatically get the property? Isn't that how it's worked in the past?
We already own the property.
But the last sentence, Leanne just read from the paragraph, and in the end it says, if the tax lien certificate is foreclosed as set forth herein, the debtor shall promptly execute and deliver to the town a quitclaim deed without covenants, pursuant to which all of the debtors then rights, title, and interest in and to the property shall be conveyed to the town. I've never
So-
seen anybody issue a quitclaim deed.
So
to
does
the
that
town.
take care of the foreclosure, the selling it? Does that take care of the problem by the Supreme Court?
Yeah.
Because
know,
if
the-
he gives it, if
remember,
he
the-
claims it to us.
The Supreme Court decision was only just like this past week.
Mm,
So how much do we know about how it really works? Not that much, and that's why MMA suggested to us stand by for
Right.
further updates, because
Right.
they're, all their lawyers are head scratching
this
over it, but
this never happens. A
I have
quick
never
claim.
seen a quick
So
claim
that
deed
sounds like he is
from a,
transferring it to us, and then we can do what we
and
want.
once it was
I would
transferred,
think so.
but if it was deeded to us, it might be a whole separate thing. Of course, is he gonna deed it to us? I mean, he
Yeah,
might
who-
very well, not, well,
Who's gonna enforce
gonna fool him,
the court, the bankruptcy court?
at the cost of how much more legal fees for us? I mean, this is nuts. But then again, if we could get the property free and clear and then sell it, we might be able to recover.
And
Mhm.
then if we send him a foreclosure notice, what if he wants to make payments?
Because to me, we're supposed to institute a quick claim deed when we receive the money.
No,
and we
no.
never got it.
Sure enough, but what this paragraph in the court order states is that if he fails to pay, he has to issue us a quit claim deed for the property. Does that make it that he has surrendered this property to us and therefore it is not a taking? That's what I'm thinking, is because this is unusual. I've seen a lot of people, well, not a lot, actually, it's kind of rare that people lose their property, but over 20 some years, I've seen it happen a number of times. And but I've never seen that they issued the town a quit claim deed. The town just automatically owned it for
Right, but
back taxes.
this is a work.
This is a court order.
But we already owned it. He never, even when he filed bankruptcy, it was already in our hands because he hadn't paid his taxes.
But then why
I'm
did
just
it was a
I-
claim deed?
Just to make it probably clear, I have to send that notice, which complicates things because he may want to pay it. But if he doesn't within the time frame, then
Well-
he has to clear up this whole thing by giving us a good claim deed.
I guess, it's another call to MMA to say, oh my God, what do we do with this? And the questions I would ask is, if I send him this 45-day notice, is it the same as ever? And does he have a right to pay it the way the other people do because of this?
You want to go
order?
MMA or Kevin? Our lawyer. Because MMA will give advice.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, maybe we gotta go back to the lawyer, but at what point, I mean,
Because MMA
how
is
much
not
do,
friendly.
how much do we have in this case legal fees wise so far?
I've paid another bill since I got this.
Well, just approximately.
I don't think he's got a leg to stand on where he.
Oh, no, he
makes
doesn't, really, but on the other hand,
I don't have it, I have his taxes. 6,500 was gonna go toward the legal fees.
so we have, we're creeping up on $7,000.
It's probably more than that.
It's probably more than that. So, it's, and so, If it, like, in the end, if we sell this property for the back taxes plus our legal fees, is that still considered an excessive taking?
I
mean, I
don't
can
think
see-
so. If he
You
gave
can
us a
see if
quick
we
claim
sold it
deed.
for, I can see if we sold it for 130,000 and pocketed the, or, you know, or banked the excess, that would be considered an excessive taking, but as long as we're just covering our costs, I don't picture that, but I mean, I think it's pretty clear that, yes, we do have to keep this, you know, property, just hold it until we know for sure if we can even sell anything.
But I'm gonna send him the letter. the foreclosure letter.
Yep. Although I
Let
don't,
him know what the time
because
frame is.
I don't understand, you know, I mean, I saw what MMA said
That's what
here.
it says to do.
And, you know, it does, if you have questions, contact MMA Legal Services. I guess I would want to ask them, and I would ask them the questions of if all we sell the property for is
Yeah, but we're
legal
not gonna
fees.
sell it right now. First, we have to send him the foreclosure
Yeah,
notice
sure.
and get him to give us a quick claim,
Mhm.
and we can deal with selling it later. I mean,
Well, you know, a question you could ask them is, we have this court order that says that they would issue a quick claim deed. If once we have a quick claim deed, do we own the property and therefore can dispose of it as we choose?
but that's down the road.
Yeah.
First, we gotta
Mhm.
get it through this.
Yeah,
Well, you know, when I started reading this, I don't know what to do. I thought bankruptcy would take care of the back tax problem. Turned out to be a nightmare. I thought that was Leanne writing it because it has turned out to be a nightmare. It's not just his nightmare.
I'm just afraid if we send that foreclosure notice, he's gonna come up with. Oh, should I send a notice about the legal fees with it? Is that? legal fees?
Damn tempting, but I mean, there you go. And that kind of question might be something you could ask Kevin. I mean, you could go ahead and ask Kevin, you know, the Connecticut lawyer if you want, but
I'll see if I can do it without him charging us. They'll just.
I don't think you can.
Call him.
I don't think you can call them on the phone without them.
well, sometimes they
Look
let
how,
ya.
look at how, you know,
We
I've
got
seen
the-
how Dan Stockford bills.
We got a final bill. It said final.
Mhm.
Just one.
And they gave us a discount on the last one.
Oh, that
because
was
they felt so
decent.
bad.
That was decent of them. It's like, just one question.
All right, well, I'll figure out what to do. But
Oh,
but
man.
now,
Yeah. You know, I guess it feels like such a, kind of a sad situation. I don't really want to see us pouring good money after bad. Oh, man. What bad.
Yep, he has to go by what this is, I guess. I mean, he's had plenty of time.
You know, and the damn fool could have paid his taxes in the first place.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Most folks do.
That house has been closed up for years. I would not want to be the person to open that door to that home. After the, what, 5 or 6 years, no one's been there. It's probably,
Oh, I imagine it's pretty well rodent-y.
that's what I'm thinking, Lee. It's full of stuff no one would want to live with.
Yeah. Well. Let's see.
So that's what I do is send,
What do you think we should do, Susan?
send them the foreclosure.
I have to send him that.
Mhm.
yeah. I'll talk to Kevin.
I can't tell if she's frozen up or what.
Don't think she heard you.
What do you think we should do, Susan?
I think we need to proceed with foreclosure.
Send them the
Yeah, we
notice,
have
then.
to.
He's had 5 years and tons of opportunity, hasn't sent one payment all during this time. But he hired a lawyer. I feel bad, but, and we're
Yeah,
not
I
in the
would feel
property
too bad.
business. But he's had every opportunity. What did he do? He hired a lawyer who he had to pay money, which probably would have paid his taxes off. Or some of it.
You know? As he said in his, as he said in his little letter, who would have thought that legal fees would be the biggest part of this? Well, welcome to the world of legal assistance. Man,
Right.
you know, I mean, it's like, I never expected legal fees would be the main cost in settling this. Well,
He agreed to that amount. He agreed to it.
Yeah, right.
And
He
then-
should
and we were
know.
taking a loss then.
Yeah, he should know. So come out of executive session at 9:00.
There's a
okay,
second.
so, second.
All in favor?
So now that we're out of executive session, I'd like to make a motion that we ask Leanne to proceed with the, sending the, 45-day notice.
I don't know if it's 45, it may be shortened. but-
Okay, the legal notice.
Mhm.
I second Lee's motion for sure.
All in favor? Good.
I don't know if I can let any them back in or not. I probably don't want to. So, like I said before, I just put the appointments on there,
Yep.
so you guys would look at it and think about it. I talked to Dan LaRochelle, he is interested in doing the emergency management director position again. He came in, we're working on getting him involved in the FEMA stuff.
Yeah. So he's getting around and doing
Yeah.
okay then.
Yep.
Okay. Are you going to talk to Mr. Brown?
Yeah.
Leanne, I have a bunch of pictures too of the cemetery damage and the stone update and stuff. Along with who was there for volunteer hours. So I will send that stuff off to Ken and help him create a list for FEMA and MEMA and whatever MAMA we have to apply for.
Okay, just let me know which storm they're for, write it on there or something.
Yeah, I'll send them to Ken and we'll go through them. I
Okay.
took a bunch, so.
Okay, appointments, resignations, appointments.
The
for
appointments
attorney.
are coming up next meeting.
Yeah, the next agenda.
And then we have this notary webinar. Is that $45? I thought it was.
Yep,
I would be.
Barbara and I would. It's during the day when she's there, so we'd both try to listen in.
Yeah. So register one and listening to, there you go.
Is it a cost per person or just to attend?
Remember,
Remember, okay?
we'll call you
Right.
listening one at a time.
Right.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Pardon me.
Correspondence.
Did you want to approve this or?
Yeah, I was gonna, I moved, we approve the
You too.
cost for
Second,
the seminar
All in favor?
webinar.
I think I do have some correspondence. Andy Bennett, who owns land down by the old dump on Swan Pond Road, he cuts wood down there on his land.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted me to share his card and phone numbers in case we ever want the town dump lot cut.
Cut.
I don't know if you want me to keep it at the office or if you want to call him. Another thing, we got this letter and check from Otis Federal Union, $2,500. It was over $2,500 for the food bank,
Oh, no kidding.
and, I talked to, what's his name?
Bill,
Yeah, he said give it to
Polly.
Polly. I put it in town account. Is that okay if I keep it in the town account?
Until Polly needs it.
Yeah,
That seems like a much better.
yeah.
As long as it goes to the food bank, that's all we care about, right?
They would just,
What's going into an account for
the
the board?
board would have to approve any payment from
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
I just wanna make
That
sure.
makes sense to me.
And then this from Peggy Matthews talking about Judy and getting the
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
database back. Did you see it?
Yeah.
I read it online.
Okay.
yep, let's see that.
I read it online and, you know, I'm supportive, although I'm not the volunteer who's gonna do it.
Me neither.
You know, I'm afraid not.
I found out a bunch of logs.
Yeah,
that
my
Bill
cup of
had
tea.
out With our entries, I have the computer that has them.
Yeah, no kidding. So would you, repeat to me what Bennett said?
Andy Bennett?
Yeah.
Well, I had asked him, he came into the office, and I know Teresa is looking for a logger, so I asked him for his card. And then he said he's been cutting wood on his lot down by the dump, and I think we were talking about the town dump land,
Mhm.
or something, didn't know what to do with that. And he said, I'll cut it, just share my name and number,
Yeah,
I'd be
okay,
willing to cut it,
okay.
do a great job, and
Yeah,
they can go look at my lot.
you know, he might do a better job than some. I mean, I know some loggers that really make a mess, but one thing about the Bennett's is they're old fashioned loggers. They're not necessary. They're not running $1 million equipment that snips off trees and
Leaves them.
carries them. Yeah, oh man.
So if you ever want that on the agenda, let me know.
Okay, great.
Go and talk to me.
Thanks for that. I guess I'm gonna say, let's not beef up our agendas anymore than we have to. Maybe after the first year, I feel like they have plenty hopping enough right now.
That new participation policy worked out well.
Why not?
You wonder.
Well, I gave my copy to Kathleen, who obviously skimmed it over.
I'll make.
Who got these
I
people
know.
going?
What?
Yeah, who got these people going?
Yeah. Okay, well, are you fixing to adjourn us then?
Yeah.
Good.
When it was 10
Because
after
I had a
nine.
bale of shavings I took out of the car because I didn't want to lug it around and left it out on a pallet. It rained today, so before I came down here, my wash got wet. So I would take my wash in, didn't know the wash was wet. and I
Have
looked
fun,
at it.
Sue.
Was it really hot? Was it really hot over there
It was.
today?
Yes.
Yeah, it was about 80 over here. It wasn't bad.
This is a spare.
Gonna be worse tomorrow, I think.
We didn't get any rain. Did you guys get rain?
Not much.
Rusty texted me and said you guys were having a shower.
What's to wet the laundry that was supposed to be dry and that bale of shavings, you know, I don't have a bale of shavings that often, I don't think getting so close.
Yes, that was hers. That was that family.
Oh, yeah, that's from, Kathleen, she's saying, I think she wants to stick it in with.
I got mine.
I don't know, I don't know.
Okay.
I think that's the one.
That was probably.
Now, we have one more selectmen's meeting to pay bills and whatnot. Should we go through here, look at the balances? If we have extra money, I don't,
Right, if there's any extra that we need to pay this or that or whatever
Yeah.
else, yes.
Good night.
Oh, thanks, bye.
Good night, everyone.
Coming this way.
Hey, my first, you won't get green hay.
Who?
Laurel Turner.
Nice. I've seen quite a bit of green.
You see what Parsons' house is for sale up there?
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, I heard she was.
Ah.
What were you saying?
Yeah, I've actually still got some bales of hay. I didn't think I was gonna make it through the winter.
I
And I
didn't.
still got bales of hay left over. My house is coming down in hay. They think you're cheap, they're just, and she's 31 years old, man.
Well, I've been soaking food for mine for a year,
You
but I
said-
gave him this night, like, had teeth pulled and all kinds of stuff, but I gave him this, hey, you should power down.
Well, evidently pulled my teeth out. I said, I'm tempted to have some, like this disclosure with somebody who does the quant industry. Work on my horse, somebody,
Yeah,
but. Anybody, yeah.
Cassie uses-
You, what's that?
Cassie uses.
Yeah,
I had.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I probably have to have that because she would have to be tranquilized.
Really?
Oh, yeah, if my
My
little ones had to be, you don't.
My horse is, but she's been free range for a long time. and She really does not want anybody to fuck with her. She's a lot, ask Cassie. Cassie is the last person to trim the feet.
Yeah, and she's that in her head.
She didn't actually, but I'll tell you what, close enough. I mean, she's a bitch, that's just all there is to it. And you know something, if I just leave her alone, it's one of these days,
Say like me.
yeah, there you go. One of these days, she's gonna croak, and I'll just keep her as best I can in the meantime. So maybe soaking hay will do it. I feed her.
I sow green, alfalfa, beet pulp and green every morning, every night.
How old is your horse?
21.
Oh, man.
He said just a bunch of teeth pulled.
Yeah, no
and-
shit. No shit. Now, I remember something about her mother, who said they actually had to cut the side of her face to pull a tooth that was back. So, but she's not showing any, she's not like. She, in the winter, she started quitting some hay, like she'd chew it for a little while and then spit it out and then go grab
it's
another
like-
piece. And so, I said, maybe I could soak in hay, but.
My sister's house automatically soaks in hay.
I feed, some horses are just hay dunkers anyway, but what I do, I
Versus-
feed her senior pellets. And I basically make a bran mash, a scoop of bran and a scoop of senior pellets, and I pour hot water on that and let it all soak up, so it's like,
Yeah,
it's 2 little nippers, but it's like, well,
Mhm.
right, it's almost a gallon of water in there swelled up. And man, does she love that shit? Not just maybe, she really looks forward to it, but she's also eating green stuff now. Everything is kept very tightly.
Is her
muzzled
weight
around that
okay?
place. Yeah, she's not too bad. She's 31 years old. She's starting to show a little bit of ribs, but she looks pretty good for a nag, I think.
mine was getting a little skinny, so that's why we get rid of all this mash.
Yeah, so I don't think, I,
That's what most used to do with his pigs.
what's that?
Cornmeal mash he used to give his pigs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go.
Horse talk. Want a horse stew?
I feed my pigs. When I have pigs, I feed them a mash
You
too.
hear us?
I can,
I get that,
You learning about horses?
I am a cornmeal mash or something. I thought that was only for liquor, cornmeal mash.
from cranes and so that.
Kathy, are you like a rum runner over there or what?
Very.
A what?
Rum runner, cornmeal mash. I don't know. What do you make rum out of? Isn't that oatmeal or something?
No, that's made out of molasses.
Oh, molasses, sorry.
No,
Yes. Huh?
yeah, rum's made out of molasses. And whiskey's made out of corn.
You like trips like that?
Okay.
But like trips, what, running rum?
No, overnighters. The
No,
overnighters.
no, but I would have caught myself running home, coming to that, and then running back here early in the morning. I just would have been wiped out. I'm
Yeah.
getting
No,
older.
no,
It kills me.
You did?
Yeah,
School board, end of the month.
I only go to a couple a year, but it's a lot of work when you still got to do your regular job and go to this stuff too.
I used to go to this, I used to go to school.
Yeah, no one's gone in years.
Now, I used to
I
go
can't
to.
believe it.
Buckfield clerk doesn't even go.
Honest to God, I mean, the Buckfield clerk doesn't go.
Yeah, usually I do it for them, but they didn't ask me, so I recognized Jerry Wiley, so I was giving him his tickets. I know he's registered. Yeah,
Holy shit. I didn't know the clerk could do it for the towns.
yeah, I usually do. They usually bring over the voters list, but I didn't hear from them.
Did anybody else besides Jerry Wiley from Buckfield show up?
There was one other guy who just moved to Buckfield and I couldn't give him to him because I didn't know him. I didn't have the list.
That's,
I don't know who he was.
what's what I say?
And but Dave Duguay was the moderator. I don't know how strict he was. I'm sure he let him know. I don't know.
Joe getting started about that.
Indeed.
Oh, Davy boy,
What's that?
oh, Davy boy.
Oh.
All right, I'm plugging that.
All right,
See you later, Sue.
Good
Good night.
good night.
Bye.
I'm taking the whole thing over because they're having that thing to. I am endless.